Hey, it's Kayla. Welcome back to my channel. This is On the Fritz, where I talk about bookish things in a hot mess fashion. And today, this video is a collaboration video with some of my best Judies here on Booktube. And we're gonna talk about some of our favorite romances from the month of October. I'll have everyone's contact information down below. If you haven't already checked out their channels, consider subscribing if you like their vibe and the books they've been talking about. And let's get on to the favorites.
Hey everyone, my name is Chloe and my channel name is Always Booked, and today I'm here to tell you about my favorite read in October. So I have had this book on my shelf for so long and I keep not picking it up because I knew I would love it and I just didn't want it to be over. And so I was not surprised at all when I loved All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. So this book is about a couple who meet when they're young. I think they're like college age maybe, and their significant others are cheating on them with each other. Hope that makes sense. And so we get the then perspective of that timeline. And then now that couple is married and having fertility issues. And it's just so good. You guys, I don't know how Colleen Hoover did it, but I totally felt like the exciting butterfly jittery moments of falling in love that we get to see in the then period. And then I totally felt the heartbreak and angst of going through such hard things in current time and being on the brink of divorce and just how that feels and how heartbreaking that is. And I felt both, like the simultaneous joy and heartbreak. It was so good. So I don't want to say a whole lot more about it than that because it's pretty vague on the back, and I think with good reason. So I would just say pick up All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. I know she is a very divisive author, but I would highly recommend you try All Your Perfects. Thanks for watching.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. I have a Booktube channel called Steph's Romance Book Talk, and my favorite book, which is one of 5. I have 4 other favorites for this month, but the one that I'm going to show you guys is Once Upon a Kiss by Karina Rose. This is an independent author, and this is her debut book. Oh my goodness. So this book is about a woman that is jilted, and she decides to go ahead and take her birthday getaway, but when she gets to her birthday getaway, the douchebag that she broke up with is there as well with his new mistress. So she takes the reins and finds this very swoony, sweet guy that's at the resort as well, who happens to be friends with the people at the resort, and they start sort of fake dating type thing. And this is a super low steam book. Like, the swoony moments and real romance come through kisses and very closed door. So if that is something that you enjoy, this is definitely a book for you. It's a sweet, beautiful romance about independence, about finding yourself, about centering yourself, and it has the trope of fake dating. So I think it's an awesome book, and I think more people need to read it. So go check this out.
Hi, I'm Heather from Here Booktubes, and I read all romance, and I talk about romance by trope or by subgenre. So if you're a mood reader, maybe my recommendations are perfect for you. I read a lot of indie and a ton on Kindle Unlimited. So my favorite book of October was a huge surprise for me. It was marketed as a bully high school romance, and that's really not what it was at all, and it was A Lesson in Blackmail. It's by K.D. Robichaux. What this is there's an alpha male student. He is 18, he's a high school senior, and his family are the founders of the school and the owners of the school, and so basically he can do anything that he wants. He's very dominant, he has OCD, I liked him a lot. And then our main character is a librarian for the school, and it is her first job out of college. She's 22 and she is an experienced submissive. She suffers anxiety and had lost her parents, and through therapy, her therapist actually recommended her to join this BDSM club. Nothing icky about it. Her therapist wasn't involved with her in any way or anything like that, so it was very professional, if you will. And so he has a little bit of an obsession with the librarian, and he's kind of intimidating her. All he really does is stare at her and make a comment or two when he leaves the library. So it's very mild stuff, very mild, but he kind of gets off on the intimidation a little bit. And he definitely has BDSM urges, but is unaware of the BDSM lifestyle and has never acted on them in any way. Well, one night he decides to go to her house and see what she's doing because he's becoming a little bit obsessed with her. And she's leaving and he follows her, and she goes to this BDSM club, and she's early, so there's nobody at the door, and so he's able to follow her in and sees her and is like, yeah, let's go to your house and talk. And she is like, he can blackmail me, he can ruin my entire life, I will never get another job if they blackball me, and his family definitely has the power to do it. And so she follows him home. They become involved, and he's actually very caring. The communication is really great. This is him finding out and exploring the BDSM lifestyle, and they end up with just the cutest romance. I don't even know. I just loved this book. It was such a twist on the classic trope. I just loved it. I loved it. The thing is that you're like, that's not the smartest. Somebody else addresses and it's like, that wasn't safe. Don't ever do that. There was pretty minimal conflict. It was a very fun take. Really enjoyed it. It was available on Kindle Unlimited. I really recommend if you like BDSM. Thanks so much for having me, letting me talk about my book. It was amazing, and I hope you check out my channel. Thanks so much. Bye.
Hello friends and enemies, I'm Isabelle from Happy For Now. I'm really excited to share October's favorite book. This was hard because I read way too many books in October. We're not going to talk about it. But I think that there's one romance that comes to the top of the pile, and that is Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade. I know that a lot of people have probably been talking about this if you are in the romance sphere at all, but this book spoke to me so much. April and Marcus were such a delightful couple. I loved the representation in this. Obviously we have a fat main character, and Marcus is actually a celebrity who writes fan fiction for the show he's on because he's not happy with the direction it's went. And that alone honestly makes for really interesting intrigue. There are a couple small qualms in here about, it's not quite catfishing, but Marcus knows who April is and they actually have been talking to each other for a while, and so there's like that nervousness happening, but it all works out pretty well in the end. There is definitely fat phobia from family in this. If that's not your thing, make sure you don't pick it up. But I think if you like fan fiction and you like that sort of stuff, like fan fiction and conventions and nerddom, this book is gonna hit the spot for you, because I know that's why it hit the spot for me personally. I hope you decide to check it out and enjoy it. This was honestly just such a delightful read for me.
Okay, so hands down, my favorite romance read of October was The King's Spinster Bride by Ruby Dixon. This is a fantasy novella romance, and it was so good. So it's an age gap, and it follows Princess Hala, who her father is king of this fantastical land, and they're at war with the Cyclope, which is another kingdom, and they have the Cyclopes, like the prince, they have him like as like a ransom, or I can't think of the term that they use, but they have him as like a ward, and the war doesn't go too well, and the Cyclope win, and the Cyclope are like barbarians basically. Princess Hala's life is saved, and she grows up basically in isolation in this nunnery, just fearing for the time when the Cyclope are gonna remember her and kill her, because she's this loose end that could potentially be a future ruler for her home kingdom. Well, so many years later, and Matthias, the young ward, is now king, and he is ready to claim what he wants, and what he wants is Hala. So their age gap is like 10 years, I think. Nothing too crazy, but it's fun. You don't see a lot of age gaps from Ruby Dixon's books. And King Matthias is a virgin hero, and he's a virgin barbarian king, and and but he's not fumbly, he's very confident because he has been in love with Princess Hala since he was 8 or 9 years old when he was a ward there. So the romance is so sweet, it's so steamy, it's fun because they're getting married on the pretense of kind of to unite their kingdoms and their lands, but you know, Matthias tells her constantly that while it may seem like that, he wants her and he wants to marry her. And the conflict basically is just that the age gap, she fears that he could have younger, prettier princesses or whoever around the surrounding lands, but who he wants is her. Another fun aspect of this book is, so when they're getting married, he wants the marriage to be done in the Cyclope traditions, and so there's like 3 different days, 3 different traditions that they have to do, and it's just kind of, I don't know, I like traditions or events in a romance, and it was just fun to see those steps in their marriage ceremony and like the steam level, you know, amp up each time, and it was just a great read. And again, it's fantasy, so you may have heard Ruby Dixon. She's like the queen of alien romance. If alien romance is not your thing, consider reading this book. It's a quick novella. It's on Kindle Unlimited, and it's actually like a prequel novella to her Anchor and Aspect series, which is a fantasy romance series. It's set in the same fantastical world, and Hala and Matthias appear in the first book, Bound to the Battle God. Those books are both 600 plus pages. They're slow burn romance, but they're really fun, and it's different. It's fantasy, and it's done really well. So there you have it. There's our favorite romances. Thank you so much for watching. Again, contact information is down below. If you want to be friends with me or any of my gal pals, information's down below. Consider subscribing to me and my friends, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.